Welcome everybody to today's webinar on 4 steps to hitting every goal you set. My name is Jim Studebaker. I'm glad to have you with us, and we also have with us 2 outstanding individuals. We have Julie Escamar, our Director of Corporate Marketing. Julie brings more than 20 years of sales and marketing experience in the real estate and speaking industries. From copywriting to convention management, you'll find her consistently seeking out innovative solutions, fresh ideas, as well as creative products and tools for the ProspectsPLUS team of talented speakers and trainers, and of course, our valued clients like everybody on the webinar today. So welcome, Julie.
Thank you.
We also have with us Todd Robertson, our Director of the Market Dominator System. Now, Todd has won numerous speech contests with Toastmasters International, and he enjoyed a dominating sales career in California. Todd has also worked with such names such as Anthony Robbins, Mike Ferry, and Floyd Wickman, and he has presented in front of live audiences in 38 states. However, I'm told that includes airport layovers, so we might have to audit that slightly. I don't know if that counts or not.
I love it.
Todd's been with ProspectsPLUS for many years and enjoys delivering a fun, inspiring message of no excuses, no stories, a message of victories, because life is more fun when you win. So please welcome Todd Robertson.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Studebaker, and the crowd goes mild. I want to thank all of you for being on this webinar here and spending 30 or 40 minutes with us today. If you can do a couple things to make this most effective for you, one is to eliminate all distractions, your cell phone, your newspaper. Give yourself this gift. I always find it interesting that whenever I do an event, a workshop, or a situation like today where I'm going to talk about 4 steps to hitting every goal that you set, and also the market dominator, it's very fascinating that typically the people that are doing the best in life are the ones more open to doing the assignments, to taking the notes, to implementing strategies. And they're also the first ones that are at the live event sitting in the front row taking notes, which is interesting because that's probably what got them there. So if you can eliminate all distractions, grab a piece of paper and let's begin. So the objective today is this. First of all, I'm going to actually give you an acronym. I'm going to give you 4 steps to hitting any goal that you want to set. So if it's how do I get 10 listings, if it's how do I get in incredible shape, it could be a relationship goal, it could be a money goal, but 4 steps. And believe me, they're not always easy, but you can use this however you want. If you have children, you can use this with them. I'll also share with you why 90% of your competition will not do what we're going to have a conversation about today. And what's nice about that is it's actually a good thing. It means that we have less competition at whatever we do in life. Why? Most people are not willing to pay the price to become great. There was a great book written years ago by Rick Pitino, a college basketball coach, and the name of the book was called Do I Deserve Success? Deserve Success. I thought that was very fascinating. In other words, the whole concept of the book was, have I paid the price? Have I put myself in a position to deserve success? Or am I sitting back waiting for great things to happen? So I'll share with you why 90% of your competition will not do what we're going to have a conversation about today. Then I'll give you some details on a program that we have as a company. It's our highest level program. It's called the it's the Dominator. What that really means is this. How do I take over a geographical area? If I'm a professional realtor and someone's thinking of buying or selling real estate, what campaign can I put in place so they call me, okay? And then I'll share with you, we have 10 sponsorship spots, which just means that, and a year ago we didn't have this actually, so this is nice, that for 10 people on this webinar, on this call, we have a few companies out there that will cover 1/3 of the cost. So 1/3 of your cost will be covered every month for the whole 2-year campaign, which is very nice. If you look over to the right over here, I put a couple objectives. Number 1 is to interrupt me. This time is for you guys, it's not for me, so Julie will take any questions, so feel free to to ask any questions that surface. Don't wait till the end. This time is for you. It's not for me. So you're allowed to interrupt, and I'll take any questions you have along the journey. The second objective is to set you up for 2016. So no matter what your profession, and I know the majority, we have realtors on here, we have some loan officers, we have some independent contractors on here, but it's January, and it's sort of interesting. You know, January, a lot of things happen, right? A lot of people join the health club, and a lot of people have New Year's resolutions. Well, what happens come February, March, and April? Very predictable that people drop off and go back into normal life. And by normal life, I mean they've simply lowered their standards. You know, somebody asked me 2 weeks ago at a presentation, what's the secret to being successful in business and life? And I said one thing. I said the word standards. Standards is simply drawing a line in the sand and saying, I will never go back to that place ever again. Maybe it's a place where money's tight. Maybe it's a place where you don't have any listings. Maybe it's a place where, you know, you want to win the award in your office every month and you're not winning it. Maybe it's a place of pain. But so who besides me has had so much pain in some category of life? It could be money, it could be health, it could be relationships, it could be business, to where you have so much pain that you make a decision, you say, never again will I allow that to happen. I'm going to raise my standard. Watch, leap and the net will appear. So we have to take some risk in life, okay? So we're going to talk a little bit about how do you set yourself up for a great 2016. It's simple, but it's not easy. And then for some of you on this webinar right now, you might have 3 or 4 different marketing strategies or systems in place. And like any great business owner, we take a look at, hey, what's working and what's not. So for some of you, it's simply a matter of unplugging a system or strategy that's not working, that's not producing results, and plugging in something else. And for some of you, that might be our Market Dominator campaign that we have some sponsorship money for, okay? So before we go into the gist of the matter, I want to ask you some questions here. I want you to give yourself a little bit of pain. Why? Because without pain, we're not going to change, right? When somebody gets to a certain point where they've had so much pain in life and they make a decision, they said, you know what, done. I will now dominate my business. I remember, like in my case, going to college, right? And if you guys promise not to make fun of it, I'll share with you this, but I went to Cal State University, Bakersfield. Johnny Carson used to make fun of that town. He used to say Bakersfield's not the end of the world, but you could see the end of the world from there, right? And I later found out why, because he went up and did a comedy routine when he was in Burbank in LA, trying to separate himself, like a lot of realtors, right? How many realtors in your board? You know, you're trying to separate yourself from everybody else. Well, he went up and did a comedy routine. It didn't go over too well, so whenever he could, he made fun of that town. But I remember first year of college, I was on academic probation. I don't know if any of you have been on that, but that means you get a one-on-one sit down with the dean. That conversation was 60 seconds. He asked me 2 questions. He said, Mr. Robertson, why are you here? And I told him the grades weren't very good. He said, number 2, is it correctable? 2 questions. I said, yes. He goes, great, so I'll never see you in my office again, right? Wow, and I left there thinking, okay, that's some pain, right? So I wanted to make the dean's list every quarter thereafter. Well, I didn't make it that year, the next year, but my whole senior year I did. So I want you to give yourself some pain in terms of real estate, in terms of business right now. Where is money leaking out of? So I want you to write down on the sheet of paper, how many of you have ever written down goals and forgot about them? We've all done that, correct? See, if you write down a goal and forget about it, it's sort of like your other than conscious mind says it really doesn't matter. How much does that cost us per year as a business person? Is it 2 grand? Is it 5 grand? Is it 20 grand? Write down a number there. Give yourself some pain. Who besides me has ever done this one? Who besides me has ever started a marketing campaign and then quit? Well, according to the National Association of Realtors, NAR, about 90% of the realtors in the country have done that one. They've started a campaign and quit. They tell us that the average realtor will start a campaign and they will quit before the 5th contact. Why? No results. They're out. So we know with relative certainty we can help you take over a geographical area if that's what you want to do. How many of us have bought internet leads, right? And there's a lot of great companies out there, and there's Trulo. I'm sorry, Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com, there's RedX, there's a lot of companies out there that you wake up and they're giving you FSBO leads, expired leads, and buyer leads, etc. What about this one? So write down a number. How much does that cost you? A young lady last week, this one's fascinating. How many of you have driven home from the office and saw a competitor sign in your neighborhood, right? You're a realtor. You live in that neighborhood. You should own that neighborhood. And as you see that sign, it's sort of painful. You're thinking, wait a minute, I know those people. That should be my listing. That's sort of painful. Last week, this young lady and I, we had a conversation. She goes, Todd, that will never happen again. I said, what do you mean? She goes, I'm going to change my mindset. I will own my neighborhood. I said, what does that mean? She goes, another sign is not allowed to pop up in my neighborhood. Now, is another sign going to pop up? Sure, friend in the business, referral. But her point is, she's going to treat this like a real business now. She's going to do door hangers. She's going to do just listed, just sold, and send out the market dominator and do some neighborhood events. So all she did was flip the switch mentally so that doesn't happen again. How many of you how many of you wish you started a campaign, a consistent campaign 2 years ago? Imagine that, right? Imagine if you started any type of campaign, whether it's a workout campaign, whether it's a postcard campaign, whether it's our market dominator, that you did something consistent for 2 consecutive years. Well, what starts to happen there is you start to brand yourself, correct? And your competition goes to the wayside. What about this one? This one's fascinating, right? How many of us have given up on goal setting? To me, the reason that's fascinating, why? Everybody knows about goals. It's 4th grade simple. We all get it. Some people are like, oh, goals are stupid. You write them down. A lot of people have just given up and said, like, a lot of people are like a cork in the river, truthfully, like, hey, wherever the river is going to take me, I'm going to go. So they've sort of resigned themselves to saying, well, just like the real estate market. I talked to a lot of realtors that saying, you don't get it. I said, what do you mean? They're like, whatever the market's going to give me this year, I'm going to take. See, they've already thrown in the towel mentally because they have not taken control of their business, right? So a lot of people have given up on goal setting. I'm not into it. I don't like it. That doesn't apply to me. Well, it's very predictable what their income's going to be 2 months, 6 months, and a year from now. So I just want to have this brief conversation with you here so you can give yourself some pain, so you can make a decision whether it's, if you add up all these categories, you know, is it 10 grand, is it 30 grand, is it 50 grand? Because if you're a professional realtor or a loan officer or an entrepreneur, money is the measuring stick, correct? So money isn't everything, but if you're an independent contractor, that's how we measure success or failure. So if I'm a small business owner, I have to look in the mirror and tell myself the truth. I have to make a decision, hey, are you succeeding or are you failing? And if I'm failing, I have to take a step back and say, okay, what's working and what's not? I have to tell myself the truth, simply make some changes and go on and dominate life. Why? At the end of life, the only failure is regret, right? The only failure is regret. We're going to succeed and fail at a lot of stuff in life, right? We're not going to know all the answers, but we don't want to get to the point where we're 75, 85, 95, 105 years old thinking, what if I would have made that decision on that day? What if I would have put a campaign in place? What if I would have run my business like a successful business? So just take a deep breath, and I want you to write down on this page, what are my money leaks and how do I take control of the market? So let me give you, those of you taking notes, let me give you the 4 steps to hitting any goal that you set. And this is kind of fun because you'll be able to memorize this way. Think about the capital of most cities, right? They have a Capitol building and they have a dome. So I've named this Dome Technology, D-O-M-E, it's an acronym. So I want you to write this down, and then we're going to take one little example of how you can apply this. And then really once we're off this call in this webinar, you can apply this to anything that you want. If you're a smoker, you want to quit smoking. If you want to get in great shape, if you want to rebuild your savings, if you want to get an amazing job, you can apply this to anything. If you want to get 10 sellable right price listings in your inventory within 2 months, you can apply this. So write down D-O-M-E. The D means to decide. Right? If you look up the word decision in the dictionary, in its Latin root form, it means to cut off from. It means that, like we talked a second ago, if you draw a line in the sand and make a decision, you will never go back to that place again. boom, it's done, right? You draw a line in the sand and say, I will never go back to that place again. So let's say I'm a realtor and I'm doing decent, but let's say I'm not the best listing agent in my office. If I'm going to apply this to that scenario, D means I decide. So what does that mean? I decide to get great at my listing presentation. That might mean 45 minutes a day working on my pauses, my tonality, my voice inflection, my objection handling, my matching and mirroring people on the phone and in person. I make a decision. The O means to become outstanding. So what does that mean? That means I'm not going to do it all on my own. You have brokers that have great experiences. Most of you have a library in your office of a lot of great speakers, a lot of great seminars, a lot of great resources. You have lunch and learns. You have events at your board of realtors. O means to become outstanding. That means I might go to my office or go to a friend in my town and say, share with me what makes your listing presentation great. I notice you average 30 listings in your inventory at all time. And guess what? Most people want to help other people, correct? And the truth is most people are not going to take the advice. So people are willing to share, but O means outstanding. Like if I want to get great at golf, I have to make a decision and then I have to become outstanding. What does that mean? Maybe I need golf lessons. Maybe I hire an instructor, right? I just got a nice message from somebody that says, I want to list 20 homes this year. I love it. So text me on the very bottom of here, I wrote down, text me your listing goal. Because watch, listings used to be, listings are now, and as Floyd always said, listings will always be the name of the what? The game. Because if you're a great listing agent, what happens? The rest of the board has to sell your inventory. So for those of you willing to, text me your listing goal. I just got one, and it's this person wants to list 20 homes this year. The M means create momentum. What does that mean? That means if I want to get in shape, I can't just go to the gym once. I can't just go to the gym once and say, wow, I'm in great shape. I have to spread it out. I have to put it in my calendar. Watch. What gets scheduled gets done. So the M is momentum. If I'm going to take over a geographical area, I just got one that says 5 homes by mid-March. I just got a text that says 24 listings this year. Very nice. See, write it down, commit to it, see it. All we are as a company, we're a resource for you. So we have some tools that might fit into what you're doing. And if today doesn't fit into what you're doing, at least implement it on your own, but make sure that you implement our conversation that we're having here today. So the M means momentum. How would that relate to if I'm attempting to, all right, someone else just said I want to sell 12 million, I want 42 listings this year. Someone else just said I want 45 properties and closings this year. I love it. The M means momentum. If I'm going to take over a geographical area, I'm not going to just send 2 mailings, correct? That's zero momentum. That's not plain outstanding. Momentum means I need a consistent campaign. Oh, watch this one. This is the toughest one here. The E means you tell everyone. Everyone. See, most people, if I go do a seminar or a workshop, 90% of people will not do this little tiny exercise that we're talking about right now. Why? Oh, that's stupid. I already know that. Oh, goals are lame. I already understand goals. Watch. If you sit in front of a fireplace and you're like, give me heat without putting anything in, nothing's going to happen, correct? We just got a message from a 310 area code. Either that's Maryland or LA. It says, I want 10 listings. Very nice. So what is the E for? The E means tell everyone. Why? Put public pressure on yourself. If I tell everybody my January 2016 goal in my office, my friends, my colleagues, my associates, they're going to remind me, Todd, how are you doing on your goal? Well, it's public pressure, right? Steve Wynn, who has some casinos in Las Vegas, he used this exact strategy without knowing. I didn't teach this to him, right? But he used the last one, E. He wanted to quit smoking. He was not able to quit smoking. So he told everybody, he put up a billboard. He told everybody, he said, if you catch me having a cigarette, I will give you $100,000. He put public pressure on himself. He told everybody in this company. So if I'm going to, here's one that says I want 15 listings in 2016. Beautiful. Let's say you go into your office at your next sales meeting. And what we're doing here, let's say that you stood up and you told your whole office what this person just told me from a 609 area code, which I think is San Diego. This says I will get 15 listings in 2016. What if you stood up and told your office that and you give your name, Todd Robertson, I will get 15 listings and they will all be priced right and they will all sell in this year of 2016. People are going to be like, wow, that's strong. But guess what's going to happen? As you're going up and down the hallway, they're going to say, oh, Todd, how are you doing on your goal? Where are you right now? Where should you be in 2 months? See, that's giving public pressure. If you're able to apply dome technology, you can, in essence, watch, life will give you what you ask for. The problem is we don't ask for enough stuff, true? We don't ask whether it's whatever you believe in, or we don't take the action steps to do it. But life will give you what you ask for, but you have to see it. You've got to write it down. You have to ask for help, and you have to make a commitment. So dome technology, decide. That means you cut off from. Outstanding means you played an outstanding level. M means you create momentum. And the last one is to tell everyone. So I just got one that says 5 listings by April 1st. And believe me, that's 100% doable, and I'll show you how here in a few minutes. So this is my cell phone. I'm just a resource for you guys. I'm not a technology person, but I'm around the country. I get to see what's working, what's not. So feel free to call me. And then let's go into some meat of the matter. How can we apply dome technology to a certain piece of your business? I just got a message that says I want 20 closings this year, listings and sales. So that's a great year. I mean, 20 closings is a great year. So let's take this conversation we're having on goals and let's apply it to one element of your business. Let's say geographical farming, right? Which has been around forever, which got a bad reputation, right, during the Tom Hopkins days, right? Drive around and deliver a pumpkin in front of every house. But watch, if you did that once a month for 2 years, you're going to get some action. So let's apply our goal setting conversation to owning a geographical area. Because here's my belief, and I'm getting ahead of myself here, but write down 2 words if you're taking notes. Write down the hunter and the farmer. See, the hunter is great at prospecting. The hunter is great on the phone. The hunter is great at presenting. But if you can still play the numbers game every day as the hunter, but also put some farming in place, knowing that, watch this, where I lived, and this will apply to a lot of you on this call, on this webinar, I've lived in this development for 1 year. And this place is amazing, by the way. I've got 3 pieces of mail in the mail from 3 different realtors, 1 door hanger, 0 consistency, 0, right? So picture this. Imagine if you had a 2-year campaign in place. Here's what the market came to us a year ago and said, that because all of our stuff on our website on ProspectsPLUS.com is a la carte, which is great. I can order some door hangers, some flyers, some personal brochures, some different things. But people said that, and they admitted it, I was the same way. In Bakersfield, California, I was great as the hunter, but I was terrible as the farmer. So I picked an area I wanted. I sent 2 mailers. I knocked on doors 1 time. Who besides me fell into this category? I got 0 results. I threw in the towel. Well, 6 months later, I drive through that area, and I see 2 or 3 or 4 different signs up from 2 or 3 or 4 different realtors, and I'm thinking, those should have been mine, right? My fault, my bad, because I had no consistency in place. So the market came to us and kind of said, imagine if we had a 2-year campaign in place. Could you guys help us saturate an area? Could you help our marketing be either 90 to 100% automated? And can you make it affordable? So in essence, a little over a year ago, the market came to us and said, here's what we need, here's what we would like. If you guys can put this together, boom, we're in, sign me up. So we call that product the market dominator. How do I dominate the market? Why? We make fun of it. We have a lot of fun in our company, but most people dabble, they don't dominate, right? And I was one of them. So whether you work with us or don't work with us, let me give you some laws of branding. If you're an entrepreneur, if you're a loan officer, if you're a realtor, here are the laws of branding. Most of our company has been in and around the real estate business for over 20 years, so believe me, we've been beat up in every way possible. We know what works, we know what doesn't. There's actually a 3-7-27 law of branding. So the 3 means this, if you're taking notes. It means that it takes at least 3 contacts for someone to remember your face, to remember who you are, right? To maybe wave and say hi. It takes 7 contacts for someone to associate you and your name. Oh, that's Susie. She's a realtor. So it takes 7 contacts for them to start to get you and your profession. Watch this. Here's where 90% of your competition will not go. It takes 27 contacts to own a piece of the mind. Mind share equals market share. That's Susie, she's a realtor. That's Susie, she's a realtor. That's Susie, she's a realtor. Now here's what's interesting. If you pick out a geographical area or you pick out your past clients and centers of influence, let's say 10 or 20 of them will make a real estate decision in the next 12 months. But here's the misunderstood and overlooked variable. Every one of them knows somebody who will buy or sell real estate in the next 12 months. So picture that. So imagine if I put my past clients and centers of influence on the 3-7-27 law of branding, and maybe I pick out a geographical area. So in addition to being the hunter, I'm also the farmer. Watch, if we know most realtors quit before the 5th contact, you really don't have any competition. Or those of you on this call, on this webinar, that are superstars, that have teams around the country, you guys know this. Your competition is probably 3 or 4 different people in your city that you go up against every single day, every single week. And as I mentioned, National Association of Realtors tells us that less than 5% of realtors in the country have a 20% market share. Mind-boggling, right? Watch, they have, NAR has every office MLS ID number, they have every agent MLS ID number, so they know the market statistics. Now look at this one. Everybody here on this webinar knows about the old 80-20 rule, correct? The old 80-20 rule has been around forever. What does it mean? You could pick any profession, furniture sales. You could pick pharmaceutical reps. You could pick real estate. You could pick loan officers. You could pick auto salespeople. Well, historically, about 20% of those people will make 80% of the money. What's shocking is, according to NAR, your industry, your bubble, is now 93.7. So they tell us now that 7% of the realtors make 93% of the money. So if you're ready to separate yourself from the competition, if you're willing to draw a line in the sand, if you're willing to make a decision to take some risk, it's very doable. It's not going to happen overnight, but watch, it's 1,000% attainable and doable. Why? Because we've studied this. Most agents quit. So don't be one of those agents that are in the 90%. Don't break the law, right? There's a law of branding. So here's the tipping point. There was a great book, and I don't know the author. It's packed up. I just moved, so it's in one of the boxes. But there's a great book called The Tipping Point. And the tipping point, the whole concept of the book, I'll save you $29.95 in shipping and just tell you the whole concept in 30 seconds if you'd like to. If you'd like to hear it. The whole tipping point means this. Like, they interviewed a country western singer a year ago, and they said, wow, what's it feel like to be an overnight success? They're like, yeah, right. It feels good, but you don't realize it took me 20 years of overnights to get here. So there is a tipping point to getting to the point where you're the go-to person. You get the phone calls. You get the referrals. You're the local celebrity. So the hunter and the farmer, you and I have talked about this. When we get off this webinar, don't do it now, but I give you this challenge to take a look at last year, to write down, where did your closings really come from? Right? And it's really one of 3 categories. And if you want help, call or text me afterwards. Like I said, I'm just a resource to help you accelerate your business and dominate business and life and not just dabble. But if you were to source your closings in 2015, let's say you did 11 closings, you did 42 closings, you did 16. You could either write down 1 through 16 or write down the actual addresses. Here's what I would like you to do just for you, and then show your brokers, show your agents, tell everybody, use the E in Dome Technology. Here's what you'll find. There's only 3 ways to get business in the real estate industry. You can wait for the business. That means I wait for the sign calls, the ad calls to come in. You can buy the business. That means I buy the billboards. I put ads in Homes and Land, Harmon Homes with the real estate book. Or you could put systems in place and go get the business, which is what we are about as a resource and a company. So next to each of your closings, you could write down, did I wait for that? Is that how that showed up? Did I buy that piece of business, or did I put systems in place and go get it? In my mind and my heart, the agents that we work with every day, every week, if we can help you get to the point to where to where 70% of your closings comes from you putting systems in place and go getting the business, well, two things happen. One is you have a better life, you have less stress, and you're not sitting around waiting for the business. You're not a victim of the market. You're not the cork in the river. Wherever the river is going to take me, I'm going to go. Not the case. I will determine the outcome. I will come from the right place in the mind and the heart, and I will make sure I give these people 10 times more value than they're asking. So think about this. Are you the hunter and the farmer? And then if you're game, source your closings for 2015. So let me give you some details, and this is not a great picture. I should have had this fixed. My ex-secretary put this up here. But let me give you some details on our Market Dominator system. And whether you do the Market Dominator with us or don't, make sure you pick something, do a campaign, put a campaign in place, do it consistently, and let me just share with you what we're doing with some realtors around the country. So down here, we're just showing you a typical postcard size, right? And then here's a jumbo postcard size here. We're actually sending out monthly for a 2-year campaign. It has to be a campaign, otherwise it's worthless. We're sending out the largest legal size available, 12 by 15 marketing piece, every single month, once a month for 2 years. And with our sponsorship money that we have for 10 agents, we've been given 10 for this phone call, for this webinar. I'll share with you how this works later. But imagine perception becomes reality, right? If I'm a potential listing, if I'm a potential home seller, and I get a marketing piece this big in the mail, and by the way, we have a team of writers who write the content every month. The content is exceptional, I think, for 2 reasons. One is it's not overly salesy, but yet there is some direct response stuff in there designed to get the phone to ring to you. We follow best practices in terms of direct response marketing. And you guys might have found this as well. Here's what I've seen around the country, that in a world of technology overload, somehow direct response marketing has become more effective than ever before with email spams and all this technology going on, boom, 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 somehow, and we're told that about 95% of people in the country go to their mailbox every single day. But imagine perception becoming reality. If you're a potential listing and you get something this nice, we have our own printers here in Florida. We save people a lot of money. We laminate one side. We have a team of writers to make sure the front of it is designed to get more time in the consumer's hands. The potential seller looks at this and says, wow, if she's this good at marketing and she shows up every month, every month, every month, every month, guess what? If I'm considering selling my house, boom, I'm calling her. Imagine what she would do to market my property. Game over, you win. A year ago, I actually took this marketing piece, 12 by 15, down to Kinko's. Okay, the owner of our company was having fun one day. He goes, Todd, on the way home, go to Kinko's, wait in line, take this piece, tell them you want 100 printed out, come back, give me the receipt. So I go to Kinko's, right? Stay humble in life. I wait in line. I said, hey, here's this piece. I want 100 of these printed, full color, 2-sided. She comes back. She goes, well, first of all, it'll be $4 per piece, and we can't print it on that quality of paper. So the fact that we have our own printers in Bradenton, Florida makes the difference because our quality control is exceptional. So that's the front of the Market Dominator. Here's the back, better graphic for you here. The back is divided into 3 sections. So typically, and I'll give you the pricing since we're here, typically, now this is based on carrier route. I'm going to cover that here in a second. So based on 3 sections, so a realtor could either, so the front of it's done. Once we help you with your photo, your company logo, your tagline, your colors, your direct response, the front of it's going to pretty much be done. The back of it, let's say you're one of the 10 that get in and you have our national marketing sponsor on the bottom. Now we're going to rotate some different people there just to keep it fresh, but that will help you instantly take out 1/3 of the cost. So your $1 per resident now goes down to 67 cents. So basically for the same price that most people send a first-class postcard, you'll be sending something 5 times larger where perception becomes reality, you win. So you can actually take these 2 panels back here and play with them. You could use our image gallery, our image library. That's where all these things came from. You can put in your own custom stuff here as long as it was done timely. We have some templates where you could put in some local market stats that you would plug in yourself, the active, the sales, the pendings. People always ask me around the country, Todd, what's the best thing to put on the top of the back up here of my market dominator. And in my mind, we have a template where over here would be your photo, your company logo, your message, and there's room for 2 listings next to you. I like that one just because when they turn that marketing piece over, they're going to see, boom, Susie Realtor, Susie Realtor, Susie Realtor. So it's a great, to me, that's one of the best pieces to put on the top of the back there. So that's the market dominator. That is our campaign where it's once a month for 2 years, and we help you take over a geographical area, okay? Now there's some rules. So whether you do this with us or somebody else, just make sure you do this, right? And here are the rules. And rules are just in place to allow us to play at a higher level, correct? If we didn't have rules on the road, it'd be total chaos, right? So we figured out the rules finally. So the rule is it has to be a 2-year campaign. You know, people call up every week and say, you know what, I want to just sample this for about 3 months, see if it works, and then if it works, I'll get back on board. Wrong answer. Go to our website. There's a bunch of a la carte stuff, but this is our highest level product. We know initially it's going to eliminate 90% of people in the country. So in this case, it is a campaign. Why? It's kind of like joining the gym and forcing you to have a personal trainer knock on your door 4 days a week. You will hate it. You get dressed, you get in the car, you go to the gym, you might say bad words to them, but guess what? In 2 years, you will be in incredible shape. So we make you have a 2-year campaign for a reason. Why? It works. We want the market share to go to you. We have a setup fee. That setup fee it goes to our team. $500 setup fee. We have a promotion right now. It's cut in half. It's $250. January promotion to help you get. Nice. We just got 949 area code just came in. I think that's down in Orange County. It says I want to try the 2-year campaign. I love it. Text me back. Just take out the word try and we're good, right? So the only fees you pay is a one-time setup fee of $250, and then if you're one of those 10 that get the sponsorship money, 0.67, 67 cents times whatever the quantity is in your particular carrier route. They just sent me back LOL. That was funny. Oh, they just said I'm removing the try. Okay. So we have to have some fun in life, right? If you're with me, we're having fun. Do you have Canadian content? So Julie, if you have questions that start coming in, interrupt me. We do not. In Canada, they have their own program up there. We do have a rep up there, Gord Gary. So we do have a very similar program. So I would refer you to our colleagues up there, but it's very similar. So we ourselves don't work with people in Canada, but we have reps up there who have a similar deal in place, okay? We give you an exclusive carrier routes. So my guess is maybe half of you on this webinar call are familiar with carrier routes. The other half are not. It's sort of confusing if not. If you want help, call or text me. I'll spend 3 minutes with you or 5 minutes with you on the phone. It simply means that, see, typically within a zip code, there's between 5 and 25 carrier routes in there. It simply means this. Let's say you and I are mail carriers. We deliver the mail. They invented this a couple of years ago because they've been losing money for many, many years. The whole concept is this. We wake up in the morning. We go to the post office. Our Jeep's already packed. Okay, right now we're talking about the carrier routes with the U.S. Postal Service. It means our Jeep's already packed, right? So I'm going to peel off to my respective route every day. The homes that I deliver to, Julie and Jim are going to peel off to their respective routes. In theory, this concept helps them with their job. They make like 18 cents per delivery. You don't pay any extra fee outside the setup fee, and at 67 cents, we pay the post office for you. But the concept is that imagine on the passenger seat of the Jeep are these sitting there, the 12 by 15 marketing pieces. All you have to do is actually take the mail, set it gently on top of this 12 by 15 marketing piece, fold it gently like a taco, and put it in everybody's box. They don't have to think about it, read it, analyze it. That's called every door direct mail. So that's one way we're able to get the cost down. The other way is the national marketing sponsorship. So for those of you that think you want in, and I can work with you tonight, I already use EDDM for a particular zip code. Can I use the same route? The answer is yes. You can use the same route. Once you get a carrier route with us, it's exclusive to you. But yeah, you can still send whatever else you're sending. The answer is yes there. But if another realtor called us and you had that route, then no. It says my carrier route doesn't know how to fold it gently. All right, that's funny. Whoever texted that, we're charging you double, okay?
We do have a few questions now, if that's okay, if I can break in for just a second.
Sure, let's go. I'm ready.
We have several that would like you to go through the cost again.
Okay, the cost applies all except for this last person who said that their mail carrier doesn't know how to fold it gently, right? So here's the cost if you're writing it down. There's only 2 fees involved. There's no other delivery fees, no other fees. There's a one-time setup fee. We have a January promotion. It's typically $500. Our promotion right now, it's cut in half. It's $250, one-time setup fee. And then typically, let's say you even signed up today, your first piece doesn't even go out for a couple weeks from now. So those of you that, in theory, signed up today, you know, because you have to approve it, we have to print it, laminate it, bundle it, then we ship it off. So your pieces would probably hit, you know, you would be scheduled for about the first week of the month. So your fees are as follows. One-time setup fee of $250. And then if you're one of the 10 that get our national marketing partner sponsorships, and I need to explain that better, 67 cents times whatever the quantity is in your carrier route. So a year ago when we were marketing this, I'm sorry, Julie, more questions? Let me take more questions and then we'll go back to this marketing alliances. Go ahead.
Okay, awesome. Does this work for a sphere of influence group or is it just for a geographic farm?
Yeah, it's just for a geographical farming. This is just for a specific carrier route. So it's not to go after your, you know, if we did first class mail and use the Dominator to help you there, it's going to be like $1.50, so it doesn't make sense money-wise. So I would say, you know, obviously stay in touch with those people, but the Market Dominator is just developed for a geographical area.
And that's because it goes through the USPS every door direct mail system. So the 67 cents that Todd is talking about, that's per piece. So an average carrier route might have 300 or 400 homes in it. So that would be 67 cents times that 300 or however many. You have to send it to every single home in your carrier route. So whatever your carrier route is, if it's 250, if it's 350, if it's 192, whatever that is, then you would have to do that per unit.
Correct. If you found a carrier route, and it's a double-edged sword, truthfully, because a lot of people say, I don't want to mail to these areas or these streets over there. I just want to go over there. Well, you have to pick a different program. Every door direct literally means every door direct. But if those of you on this phone, if you or on this webinar, if you want help, I will spend time with you in front of a computer, and it'll only take 3 minutes or so, but I can direct you to where to go to choose a carrier route. But it literally means every house on that route. So if you found a route with 600, we're going to cover 200, you cover 400 of it. All right, are there more questions?
No, I think that covers for right now.
All right, so let me address before we leave this here, because this is pretty important. So a year ago, good. 2-year commitment is good with the sponsorship you talked about. All right, so we've got people taking some of the spots right now. So we have 3 of those. So we still have 7 left for the national sponsorship spots. Oh, someone just said, is there a minimum? There's not a minimum. The minimum just has to be whatever is in your carrier route. So at a minimum, it just has to be a singular carrier route. So that's the minimum. I would like help. I'm in. I'm ready with the sponsorship. So we have 4. We have 4 of the 10 people committed so far. So here's what happened. A year ago, we didn't have any national sponsorships. I mean, we were just out there. I mean, it's a great deal because we're giving you the Market Dominator. We have an ancillary flyer that goes with it. So that's free to our Market Dominator customers. What national sponsorship spot is available? Just want to confirm I'm in 310 area code. I just got your message again. I confirmed you. Boom, you're in. All right, so we have 5 of the 10 so far. So we would do seminars. All right, 917, I just got your message. You're in as well. I don't know where 917 is. Text me that just so I know where that is, just for the fun of it. So by a coincidence, one of one of our flights that our owner's wife took about a year ago, sitting in first class, they were sitting with some executives from ADT Home Security, and they just got chit-chatting. We're having a lot of blow-up right now. Oh, OC, Orange County. Okay, you're in. Confirming you got me. I'm in South Louisiana, 985 area code. I just got you. You're in as well. You're good. So we have 3 more left. So they got chit-chatting with our owner's wife, and they said, what do you do? What do you do? What's your husband do? What's your husband do? And they're like, wow, we like that. And she's like, why? They're like, well, if it's a 2-year campaign, it's going to attract either the upper-level realtor or the brand-new realtors that are big thinkers. Okay? Yes, you got me. Denver Market 720. I just got your message. You're in. Yes. Bakersfield just came through. You're in as well. Staten Island 917. You're in Staten Island. Now in all fairness, all right. So you guys are blowing the phone up. So I think we've reached 10 or close to it. If we get over 10, we can always call the national marketing partners and say, hey, we got 3 or 4 extra, and we could see if we could get more sponsorships. But what happened is they heard what we were doing. They made a couple trips out to Florida. We had some amazing dinners. Luckily, I didn't get the bill for those. And they came into our office, and we spent 2 or 3 times visiting with them and making sure the legal description, disclosures, disclaimers were good. And then since then, we've had other people come on board. So that means if we send you the DocuSign and we say national marketing partners commit to 1/3 of the monthly cost, we're going to rotate different people in that slot, but we're going to make sure each month for the whole 2 years, we're going to always cover 1/3 of your marketing costs. So that's what that means. So they give us a budget every month, and by budget, they give us a quantity of realtors. So like this month, they give us 50, because why? A lot of people, understandably, traveling for the holidays. They were waiting until January to put things in place. All right, so that's how that works. But for those of you, if you needed help on the carrier route, text me that. I'll either call you this evening or tomorrow, just depending on how many presentations I do this afternoon, and I can spend some time with you just so we could see if it's for you or not for you. The other thing we have to do is we have to make sure those carrier routes are available. But I know some areas we don't have any reps in. So areas we don't have a rep, 99% chance your stuff's available, okay?
And Todd, I'm just going to jump in for just a second, because I've actually answered this for quite a few agents.
Yeah, go ahead.
That they're wanting to know how to choose a carrier route. And that's a little bit more complicated, and that's something you do one-on-one with the agents, correct? We actually walk them through the USPS system and help them choose the carrier route that would work best for them.
Correct. Yeah, it's always a good, all right, 760, I just got your message, you're in as well. It's always a good conversation. There's no black and white answer there, because some people want to go after the 3-bedroom, 2-bath, high turnover area. That's going to be different carrier routes. Some people, like we have some people in Florida that work Casey Key. It's an amazing island 20 minutes from here, $5 to $20 million homes. Well, obviously less turnover, more like commercial real estate, better commissions. Some people like the downtown historic kind of district. Some people, which has been smart, which it was not on my radar a year ago, but some people will pick an area, kind of like where I live here, maybe 4 or 5 years old, maybe 6, where no one's put any money into it yet. So that's why there's no consistent mailing. So maybe the wave has not hit the shore yet, and they're thinking, wait a minute, like where I live would be great, because there's zero consistency. But yes, it's always a good conversation, so I'd be happy to have that conversation with you to help you pick out a carrier route. Some people pick it based on where they live, based upon where their office is, because you know what comes up in the mail or not. So Julie, I don't know if I answered that correctly or not.
Yes.
Okay. Other questions at all? Julie?
Again, people asking what the average carrier route is, and normally they tell us that the route is what, between 350 and 500, correct?
Yeah, I have a chart here. I think on average it's about 500, but I signed in late. I don't understand the sponsorship. Please explain. I'm in. So I'll answer that at the end. Remind me at the end, Julie, to go over the sponsorship. A few people signed in late, so I'll continue with the webinar, but I will I'll cover that again at the end, okay?
And I'll just let everybody know that's asking now that Todd will put his phone number up again at the end so you guys can text him and call him.
Yeah, and by the way, I normally don't give my number out this early, true?
True.
Boom, boom, boom. All right, so every door direct, so that's how we're able to get the cost down, that and the sponsorship. So, and then those of you, if I leave out anything, like that person, that 301 area code, which is either LA or Maryland, I forget where, but send me a text in about an hour or so. That way I can call you and I could go over that one-on-one with you. So a couple last things here, and then I'll take any other questions, but this is the maximum size allowed in the country. You know, here's a normal postcard. This doesn't get overlooked by anybody. I mean, perception becomes reality, right? It's like, it's the largest legal size available. And people ask me all over the country, oh, I live in Manhattan and we live in a building. Or I live in the John Hancock building, downtown Chicago. Watch, this is a federally licensed program from the United States Postal Service. However they get it into the mailbox, they get it in. So they're making money on this, so they have to make that happen, okay? So once you get to every door direct, and this is something I can walk you through, but all you do, and there's a couple steps under our video, a couple buttons to hit, and it will illuminate in purple like this, and it will show you, like in this particular case, this is what you would write down for the DocuSign. Hey, I want route 34211-R070. In this particular case, 677 homes, so we cover 200 and whatever a third of that is, 200 and almost 20 bucks. And then it gives you some demographic stuff, but you could zoom in and see the actual area, so it's around all these lakes. Disregard this cost. If you're looking on every door direct site, we cover that for you. Your only costs, again, are two costs. One-time setup fee of $250, and if we get some sponsorship money, then it's 67 cents per resident, okay? So this might answer your question, Julie. So this is a projected investment based upon a two-year time frame. So many people I talk to, right? I talked to a young man this morning and said, well, in the course of a year, that's going to cost me, like in this case, 12 grand. Well, they're looking at it incorrectly. What's your return on investment going to be, right? You don't sit in front of a fire and say, give me heat, and I don't put anything in it. Well, this is why 90% of your competition will not do this. Look, the first 3 or 4 months, nothing could happen. It could be longer than that. But this is based on 500 homes. Now, every market's different, all right? Every market in the country is different. But let's say an average price $270, average turnover rate about 10%. We know on average that we're going to help you at least get about a 10% market share the first year. So if 30 listings pop up in your area, boom, you're going to get 3 of them. Now, that depends on a lot of things. How great is your listing presentation? How great you are at pre-qualifying people, so you're not taking overpriced dogs, right? How great you are at pricing the property correctly, saying no when you need to. So a lot of variables involved. But watch, we know the second year it's going to increase to 20% market share. Now, for a lot of people out there, they get higher numbers than this. Why? Kind of like what we talked earlier. They mentally decided to take over the area. They're going to dominate, not dabble, right? There's no way to go through life. To dabble through life, good luck with that one, right? It's very predictable how life will turn out. We're not going to win everything we do. We're not going to win every time, but if we can put some systems in place, and then it's like the pilot of the airplane. Once the airplane's up there, you're still making a little bit of adjustments, but the hardest part is taking off, making that initial decision. But a lot of people get 30% market share because they are knocking on doors. They're doing community events. They are doing door hangers. They're doing everything out there in addition to Market Dominator. They're also visiting the small business owners. We give you 20 free Dominators per month. And a lot of people will go visit those small business owners. Think about the lady that owns the diner. Who shows up every day? All the regulars, right? What topic might come up? Maybe real estate. Well, imagine if my Dominator has been going to her 2 or 3 months and I go make an introduction to meet her, and I bring 3 or 4 Dominators in there and say, hey, keep these so when people are waiting, by the way, Todd Robertson, I'm a realtor. Do you know anyone that wants to buy or sell real estate? Well, no, but it always comes up. Do we get a monthly copy mailed to us? Yes, we actually mailed you 20 of them to you, area code 917. We send you free a copy, 20 of them mailed to you exactly what you're sending out. So your market share could be a lot bigger according to what you're doing there, as opposed to just doing the market dominator and waiting. So this just gives you a little bit average projected 2-year investment, okay? And here's what I wrote down: how will your life really be better? If a person really did this, and whether you work with us or whether you already have a system in place, keep doing that. Just make sure you apply the 3-7-27 rule. Make sure it's a campaign. Make sure it looks great. A gentleman signed up 3 weeks ago. Here's what he said to me, okay? True story. He goes, Todd, he goes, okay, you got me. I go, what do you mean? He goes, I've been trying to do this myself to save the money. I've been doing my own marketing. I've been bundling it myself. I go to the post office. I pay. Watch. Wrong answer. The best realtors in the country want to get to the point where they only do 2 things. Not always easy, but they want to get to the point where all they do is prospect and go on appointments. In this day and age, with companies like ours out there, it makes 0 sense to sit down, design, edit, layout, cut, paste. Plus, he told me, he goes, Todd, I look at my marketing stuff from the outside looking in. It does not look great. Your stuff looks incredible. I need to raise my image, and I'd like it all done for me, 90% done. So you could either make it all done, where we pick what goes on those 2 panels in the back, 100% automated, or you can go into our image gallery and pick a couple things. But I wrote this down here because I believe it. I wrote down, how will your life really become better if you did the market dominator or something like it? Well, like the hunter and farmer, number 1 is you become the name brand. When they think of real estate, they call you. Everybody in that area knows somebody who will buy or sell real estate. Here's the other reason. Every month, every year, listings will show up. Whether you do any marketing or not, listings will show up. So guess what? They might as well go to you, true? If you don't do any marketing there, listings will still show up. The other reason that I believe it's a great marketing dollar return on investment, especially with the sponsorship, especially with us having our own printers. I told you the story. I went to Kinko's. You know, go to a local printer. I promise you, when your competition sees this, 1 or 2 things either happens. Either they go away, or they go to a local printer and say, how much to print this? And then they're not going to like the price. So that's not going to happen. Here's the other interesting thing. And I have a colleague here locally in Sarasota that does this. Imagine that you picked a great carrier route and you got really aggressive with it. You can work a radius. It could be a 2 radius, 2-mile radius, 5-mile. In this case, I put in 30. I have a realtor friend that runs around like a chicken with his head cut off. He goes, oh, I have to go down to Venice, so I have to drive 90 minutes that way, or I have to go up there, I have to go over there. Well, all he is the hunter. He's doing no farming. So, and his production is terrible. Not terrible. His production is like an EKG reading. Let me rephrase that. Amazing highs, amazing lows. And he goes through some tough months. He goes through some tough months. He goes through amazing months where he makes a lot of money, some months where not much at all. And then the other reason is with our company, that carrier route is exclusive to you. So that's how your life really becomes better. So I wrote down a couple things, and then Julie, I'll take some more questions. So let me just remind you, and I wrote down truthfully that you deserve success. You know, I just recorded a video for our Dominator customers yesterday, and it'll be going out here this week. And I really believe it, and I do it myself. I don't do anything I don't teach, but I work on my goals every day or every other day, work on being balanced, and I work on saying, hey, am I putting myself in a position where I deserve success? And the answer had better be yes. But in this case for you, look, you're going to get at least a 10% market share the first year if those of you that want to do the market dominator with us and put a campaign in place. We know at least it'll be a 20% market share the second year. I wrote down, get involved and meet the people rather than just send out stuff and wait for things. You know, people like that, to go out there and meet them, to make an introduction and dress professionally, be professional. People see that. We had a gentleman recently down in Sarasota, and I signed him up a year and I think 3 months ago. He's an attorney in his mid-30s. I knew he was going to do great. His name's Adam. And his first year in the business, he did 16 closings. He attributed 3 of them to the market dominator. Well, typically, this doesn't attract a brand new person unless you're a big thinker. So that's not amazing production, but that's pretty good production, right? I wrote down know your market statistics. So if you're at a party, if you're at an event, if you're at your clubhouse at happy hour, know your market statistics, you know. And your broker knows those, your board knows those. So when you're talking to somebody, it raises your level of intelligence that you know how many homes are on the market, how close to average sales price they're getting, how many months of inventory is there. I also wrote down this, pick one thing and focus on it, right? So many people get overwhelmed in life. They end up in a bad place. So many realtors like, oh my gosh, I have to fill out all these forms, I have to join the board. My broker wants me to do this. Well, guess what happens? They wake up 5 or 6 months later and they're like, okay, that was all for nothing. The light bulb will light the room a little tiny bit. The laser is going to cut through steel. When you get so laser focused on whatever you want in life, whatever your objective is, in this case, hopefully it's us helping you hit your real estate goals, we will help you win. I mean, we have a ton of resources, this being the highest quality product that we have because it's a campaign. But think about that. I mean, the laser will cut through steel. And then in this case, we have a national marketing partner that we did not have a year ago that helps you take 1/3 of the cost every month. So to me, it's amazing and crazy. And I just wrote down here, change is mandatory for extraordinary results. It's very easy for us all, and all of us, believe me, fall into that place to where, oh, I don't want to change. Change is scary. I like it where I am. It's comfortable. I don't want people to know. Well, if we're going to do anything amazing, we have to put ourselves out there. We have to make some change. We have to be willing to take the risk. Remember at the beginning, I said the only failure in life, so we don't want to be 90 years old sitting on our rocker in our back lanai, overlooking the golf course or wherever we end up, thinking, man, I wish I would have done this or I could have done that. Whether it's business, whether it's relationship, whether it's health, have no regrets. When it's all said and done, you sit back and say, I went after everything. So I just want you to know that, see, pretty soon if you're doing something like the Dominator and you put a campaign in place, you become the competition. Think about that. People look at that and say, wow, I'm not going to that area. Susie has that area all sewn up. Let's say it's 600 houses. They all know somebody who will buy or sell. So I don't want you just to market. I know there's other companies and there's algorithms that say, well, buy our software program and we're going to tell you the 12 people that are ready to sell this year. Sure, that's good, but you have to pay for that exclusivity, and then you have to pay to send the postcard out, and you're only sending it to those 12 people. What about everybody else in the area who wants to or who knows somebody who will buy or sell? So it's very easy to sell against that, and some of that stuff might be good, but it's only a guess. It's an algorithm. It's a maybe. So I wrote down, we know with 100% certainty we can help you get some market share, get some listings, and in a world of technology, truthfully, if you're an independent contractor, a professional realtor, I don't want you ever spending time design, edit, layout, cut, paste, whether it's us or somebody else. There are companies out there that can make it inexpensive enough for you to delegate that to them, and it will look amazing. And it allows you, if you're game, if you're ready, and it takes some guts, to only do two things. And it's not always easy, but the great realtors want to just, hey, I just want to go prospect and go on presentations. Now we're working high priority activities. Any trainer in the country, Brian Buffini, Floyd, Mike Ferry, Daniel Kennedy, Tom Ferry, us, me, doesn't matter who it is, but all of them will tell you that. So this is sort of a fun assignment here, and then I just want to throw this out to you. I do this at least once a week in my journal. Here again, most people resist it, you know, they're not into it, but what can your life and business look like 1 year from now? And I call this future pacing, and I got this from Tony Robbins. I learned a lot of tools. I've had some great mentors. I've been very fortunate, but I made all those happen. Nobody came and knocked on my door. But so here's what future pacing is, and it's kind of fun. And I say, based on this, if you guys will send me an email, here's how it works. Write down a paragraph as if it's 1 year from now, as if everything has already happened. That's called future pacing yourself. And I think Brian Tracy talks about it. He says that when you do something stated in the present tense, as if it's already happened, your mind doesn't know the difference between what did happen or what will happen. Your mind just assumes it, and your mind goes. So if you never visited this paragraph ever again, they say that within 1 year, half that stuff would already happen. So email me a paragraph, and the paragraph could say, You know, I closed 25 transactions this year. I'm in the best shape of my life. I'm in an amazing relationship. I rebuilt my savings to 50 grand. I drive this amount of car. I live here. I'm number one in my office, or I became the broker of my office, or whatever you want it to say, be it business or be it personal. Write down a paragraph, but everything has to be in the present tense as if it's already happened. So it's January 31st, and I'm boom, 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 boom. And I wrote down my email address here. So do that. Not only is that a great assignment based upon our conversation today, but it's a great assignment for you to do in life. And seriously, for those of you that have taken your time out, I don't take this lightly. I know that webinars can be tough because it's not, you know, we've done the video thing before. We've done, you know, our objective is how do we try to reach as many people as possible without us flying somewhere and have to charge them a lot of money. So I do, from the bottom of my heart, applaud you for being on this webinar, applaud you for taking notes, and seriously, my phone blew up. Like, it's, if you guys could see it, it said 47 messages came in during this time. A lot of them are questions, and a lot of them are people that want to sign up. So I will get back to everybody. I'll make that commitment to you. For those of you that do want in, if you've already done it, it's fine, but if not, text me. Just say Market Dominator or I'm in, and whether it's today or tomorrow, depending on how many presentations, I will get back to you, and I will either answer all of your questions, and if it makes sense, we'll get you signed up, and if not, you'll at least know how the program works, and we can take it from there. So thank you guys very, very much, and we'll turn this back over to Julie to answer any more questions.